Veritas has been leader in the data management software for more than 30 years now. And if you look at our portfolio of solutions, really three groups of solutions, I would say. The first, we call it API as a short acronym for that, availability, protection, and insights. As we all know, data is 21st century's oil or gold, whatever you call it, right? So it's definitely very important for the enterprises. Availability portfolio really focuses on making the data available 24/7, 365 days, right? So basically making sure that there's enough redundancy built. No single point of failure will deprive you of accessing to the data. So based on how important and how critical that data is, you can decide the redundancy factor, but essentially be it at a failure at a disk level or at a card level or at a cable level, all the way to the data center level, all types of failures are handled by this solution to ensure that enterprises have um, seamless access to their data. So that's the first portfolio. We have product family called as InfoScale, which caters to that. The second is protection, and which is very important these days because you would have heard ransomware attacks and data being an asset, and it's very important asset for enterprises. Obviously, there are malicious intent individuals who will go after the data, and that's where protection becomes very important. We have two products there. One is Net Backup, another one is Backup Exec. So one caters to enterprise space, other one caters to the SMB space. The logic there is very simple. How do you make sure that data gets protected against any unintended or intended malicious attack, and you're able to do a quick recovery of that data for the enterprise. Particularly in case of ransomware attacks, enterprises obviously have their first strategy of not able to protect their applications and servers and infrastructure, but because of a reason attack does happen, then they obviously look at us, that we being the backup vendor, can you restore the last good copy of the data? And so backup or protection becomes very, very important from that perspective. And the third pillar is really insights pillar. It's about really telling the customers how, how fast is your data is growing, what kind of category of data which is growing. So essentially analytics and reporting on the data, which is very important because the evolution of GDPR kind of regulations, the getting insights into data is very important, and which for compliance or for regulations, or just from analytics perspective. And that's the third pillar of portfolio that we have, which has enterprise vault, data insights, and all these products really cater to that. So we have basically three products. But if you look at this, what we really do is we manage the data life cycle. So data gets created, gets used, and gets deprecated. We manage the whole end, cradle to grave kind of data lifecycle management. What this is accentuated is actually one, that data is now more disparate, and it's landing into different zones because now there's so much of work from home. That's one. The amount of data that is created is much larger right now because people are virtual. The collaboration is not happening into the physical rooms. There are virtual rooms, so a lot of documentation is getting created, point presentations, documents, spreadsheets, and so on. So this collaboration is leading to explosion of the data growth, and the importance of data is not diminishing, by the way, and actually it's increasing. And also the threat to the data is actually multifold increasing, because now the surface area of attack has increased. It's no more in the data center, it's actually into homes of the people and different devices of the people. So that definitely has amplified aspect of the data, and that's absolutely very important. The availability of the data also is important. Insight also is very, very important. So all those three aspects have actually got very amplified. And the other trend that we have seen with the customers is that because during the lockdown period or pandemic period, there are not easy access to data centers. and there's not easy way to install new applications and new servers and new infrastructure, many of the customers deploy their application into cloud. So cloud adoption of applications has increased. And again, the data getting created into the cloud means it has to be managed and protected. And that again meant a lot of opportunity and pull for the solutions from Veritas. How do you take care of the data, which is correct locations, all the way to the cloud? So the way we look at it is that whether it's cloud, whether it's the edge, whether it's a core, we have a uniform solution to take care of that data. And that has really helped us to give that support to the customers. Doesn't matter how fast is your growth of the data, how far the data is, we are able to give a uniform solution to the customer, be it in the core, be it in the edge, or be it in the cloud. What we have seen is actually it was interesting. The observation of the growth we have seen is across the board. Also, I mean, there's maybe some exceptions of travel and tourism industry, but by and large, across all the sectors, we are seeing that growth of digital transformation. And because of that, and the significant data growth, and because of that, we've seen overemphasize emphasis on the availability as well as protection. The second thing which happened, I don't know if it's because of the pandemic or not, we still do not have any data points on that, but the number of ransomware attacks have increased and the security threats have increased. So even the organizations which were not necessarily protecting all the data, they have kind of gone into saying, okay, I've seen some threats now. We were protecting only 20% of the data. They have gone now and say, okay, we need to deploy the solutions for 100% of the data, because we don't want to risk the data at this point. So I would say we have seen this much widespread, the trend of digital transformation, and not really seen any kind of place where it has been more prominent. But that's what our observation has been. Compliance and regulation, we definitely look at all the major compliances across the countries and help to support that, right? Essentially, if you look at GDPR, the GDPR really needs to understand from the regulation perspective, understand data classification, and then once you classify the data, then you should be able to manage the data lifecycle. So when does the data gets created, how long does it get used, and then gets deprecated. So as long as you're able to drive the data classification and then do a policy-driven data management, then you basically take care of most of the compliance and regulation. That's exactly what Veritas products do, is policy-based data management, and obviously a very robust data classification. And we have products for that. From the security perspective, there are two aspects of it. One aspect is Veritas solution itself should not be vulnerable. That means it should not be target for attack, right? And even if it happens, it should be robust to handle that attack. So how do you secure Veritas products, the surface area of those products, and make sure there are no vulnerabilities that can be exposed, right? So we do a lot of that testing to ensure that products are absolutely robust. That's one aspect of it. And the second aspect of it is that while we are protecting clients' infrastructure, client was relying on us to recover their data whenever there is attack like that, right? So we want to really make sure the data is available all the time. And we recently launched a solution called as, which is around storage immutability. So think of this, right? If attack happens on a client machine, client wants to restore the data from the previous day or previous week, or so need to have that copy. Now, if there's attack happening, usually that attack would also try to wipe out the older copies. That means they would try to reach out to the backup infrastructure and see if there are any copies and then wipe those out. And that's where the storage immutability feature is very important, which means you write it once and you can't erase thereafter, right? So kind of worm kind of a feature. So that's what we released earlier in September, October timeframe, where the images, once they get stored onto this device, nobody can delete those until they are expired after that stipulated time. So suppose image has to be there for 7 years. Once that gets written onto the device, absolutely nobody can expire that image. So even if the attack happens, the attacker would not be able to take that image or wipe that image out, which means customer would be able to restore that. So that's one aspect of making sure immutability is a very, very important aspect of it, restoring the data if there's a client machine request comes for that. So the two aspects of security, as I said, one is securing our product itself from vulnerabilities, and the second is trying to protect the customer's data and restore it back when at will. And thirdly, we talked about analytics, which is very important, and both predictive and reactive. So we have Aptar is a product solution that we have, which does a lot of trend analysis and predict how fast you're going to grow your data, how fast is your infrastructure going to get consumed, and give a lot of those insights to the customer. So now it takes a complete data center view, multiple domains, and then does a lot of trend analysis and see how that growth is happening, and gets different slices of that data and insights to the customer so that they can plan their infrastructure proactively and much efficiently. Two ways of looking at it, right? We definitely we have a pay per use. We call front end terabyte usage. Basically, depending on how much data you protect, you pay for it. That model we launched, in fact, few years back, and very popular now. We call it capacity based licensing rather than perpetual traditional licensing. And that's very, very relevant because customers do want to there's a need to scale up the solutions, and they want to start paying only what they want to use, right? And we have been supporting that model, and that has been very popular model now across the customer base. Veritas Pune presence dates back to almost 25 years. One thing very, very interesting about Veritas India start beginning was it was more about getting some very innovative, creative work. So it started with 4 engineers doing very innovative work, and it grew from there to almost 2,000 plus employees now. The focus has been it as a center of excellence. Today we have multiple functions, not just R&D. We have a customer success team, customer support, pre-sales. We have IT team, finance, and HR, and so on. All these, you can almost say that's a microcosm of Veritas. Why is that important? It's absolutely important because the employees now have access to all these functions, and when we are building solutions, we are looking at how will this work from the customer success perspective, how will this work from the IT perspective, and how will it work from the pre-sales perspective. So all those inputs get built into it, and that's where it becomes very, very important for us to build a solution that would scale. And remember that this center is building solutions which are consumed globally. They're not only for India. So that's another aspect of it. The center has very strong bridges across the globe, and a strong leadership who has worked in this kind of environment, globally distributed teams for years, and mastered some practices which helps us to actually be 12-hour time zone away, but still know what the customers in North America wants versus South America wants, and other places want, and we're able to cater to some of these customers, right? So I think that is the DNA of this center, is that we're able to innovate the solutions, drive a lot of that innovation, and help the customers with the new age solutions. If you look at the technology has moved from mainframe to client server models to virtualization, and now containers and cloud. We have been always on the edge of the technology to make sure our solutions cater to these technologies. And as customers adopt the disruptive technologies, we're able to support them and make sure our solutions really effectively handle some of those disruptive tech trends. And we've been very successful at that. This new facility, which we opened up a couple of weeks back, is actually a very state-of-the-art center with a lot of good features like very, very cool, efficient lighting, workspaces, conference rooms, collaboration, infrastructure. Now, all the newest things have been built into the center. Most importantly, it's also would help us because we can understand the customer pain points and what situations they are in. For customers, also it's good because they're able to influence the product roadmap and able to drive the innovation, which will help them in the future. And we value those interactions very much. And this new center that we have built actually has good spaces where we can do those interactions more effectively and showcase the products and discuss with the customers what more innovations we can drive. So I think that's a plus point of this the Center of Excellence, is that we will have a great opportunity to actually showcase the product features to our customers and get early input and influence the roadmap. We went to all hands virtual within 24 hours. I still remember, I think it was March 17 or 18th, we decided that we'll go virtual. And our IT department actually had already geared up, and they had all the infrastructure, and we could get the people work remotely from the hardware infrastructure perspective, right, or the IT infrastructure perspective. From the collaboration spaces and the tools, it took some time for sure. Zoom, Teams, WebEx, and all these spaces, and we figured out newer ways of how to use virtual whiteboards and how to share presentations, create those spaces to share documents, and so on. So I would say going from virtual, it was literally overnight, but to be really effective, it took at least a few weeks where everybody got comfortable, and now I think we're good at it. So we've definitely been able to work across. One good thing that happened, I would say, right? I don't know. There's a book, World is Flat, right? In this case, everybody is literally one call away, right? So everybody is remote. And that, in a way, created a lot more opportunities for collaboration, because whether you're in, doesn't matter which time zone you're just one call away, right? And it obviously stretched your working hours for sure, but it created a lot more affinity from the individuals, particularly across the time zones. I can see now a lot more people are working with people in different time zones, and able to do a lot better collaboration. So this pandemic, there's always a silver lining, and I would say this one thing that taught us is to how do you collaborate across the globe more effectively. We do have a technical sales team and obviously sales team, right? So and we have a strong partner ecosystem. Because we are primarily in the enterprise space, is a direct selling model. So our pre-sales and sales team does reach out to the customers. Many times there's a proof of concept. If it's a very new age technologies, then many times engineering also would get involved and make sure customers are able to see which is not already released, it's in still development, and get in. So it all a combination of that. We really want to understand the customer situation, customer pain point, and then if it's already developed solution, then pre-sales and sales team would take care of it, and they'll demonstrate the product and conduct the proof of concept. If something which is under development and customer is interested, then engineering gets into it, and we demonstrate some of those features. But a lot of collaboration happens, and obviously once we are past the closure of the deal, then customer success team gets over and professional services team gets over. So I would say a number of the teams or customer facing, based on which stage the customer in, we have the right team engaged. But as a together, Veritas is one team, right? And we'll pull in the right resources to make sure customer situation is handled. Retaining existing customers, absolutely, enterprise customers is very, very important, because acquisition of a new customer is expensive, right? So and so we have been focusing on retaining the customer base, and because of the digital transformation, a lot of these customers had growth which they had not seen in the past years. So supporting that itself meant give them no helping hand for sure. So I would say a lot of that work went ahead. Obviously, while doing that, we're also looking at the new age customers who are looking at the solutions from the enterprise scale perspective that we're focused to. But I would say more emphasis obviously on retaining our existing customers which are been with us for a number of years, and handling their growth and handling the challenges like ransomware attacks and so on, while focusing acquiring the new customers. So Veritas, as I said, it's when it was not even Pune was not in anywhere in the IT, we kind of started investing in 25 years in India, very strong, and Veritas is obviously a very strong brand in Pune. And we continue to do that, continue to believe in that, and the source of talent, the source of innovation that we see here has been a great, great kind of support for Veritas. So Veritas continues to invest here. 2/3 of our one-third of our employee base is actually in Pune, and that shows the commitment that Veritas has. Um, all the products across Veritas portfolio are getting developed in Pune facility. Not just the product development, but in addition to that, we have customer support, customer success team, professional services, pre-sales, finance, HR. So Veritas is absolutely committed for Pune Center of Excellence, and Pune would be absolutely a key stakeholder from the success of Veritas perspective, and we see that going forward, increasing further, and the contributions from the Pune centers to increase further, and get more growth from the business perspective. Obviously, that translates in the growth of the company, obviously, and there'll be more investment. But the focus right now is really get creative solutions built out in the Pune Center of Excellence, and handle some of these new challenges which are coming on availability, protection, or insights. One thing good about from the beginning, Veritas has only one engineering center in Pune. We are in two locations in Pune, but essentially our engineering presence is only in Pune in India. We do have sales presence in across India, but from the engineering perspective, is primarily centered in Pune. And Veritas has been always, very employee centric, and that's one reason you'll see even the first engineer. I said the four engineers who started with Veritas in '95. We have those guys back with us, right? So there are a lot of employees with 20 plus years tenure with Veritas, and that shows how employee friendly the culture is, and people love to be working with Veritas. One thing I always say that we build products and we build careers, and number of Veritas engineers have risen to the ranks of campus graduates to now the leadership positions. We do take care of the upskilling and training and mentoring. One important program we have is university relationship. We have a very strong relationship with engineering colleges, and every year we have internship program, we have campus hiring program. But beyond that, what we envision is people graduating from colleges should know what data management means, should know importance of the data. And our effort has been, how do we educate with the students about what are the different aspects of the data management. And so we are spending a lot of effort on that. We are also working with the faculties to drive some course content into the curriculum, so that students, when they graduate, they're aware of these aspects of the data. And whether they join Veritas, that's a secondary. The real focus is create the awareness about the data and the storage technologies in the students, so that wherever they go, they will use that information. So kind of long strategic relationships have been built with the multiple colleges, and we really source a lot of our talent from the colleges, and obviously spend years grooming them and building them into next generation leaders. Now that focus is on the data and the storage, and that focus has been always there for Veritas portfolio. What has changed is because of these regulations and the importance of the data, the customers and the enterprise have increased focus on data management. So I think that has actually helped us to get better traction for our solutions. That's one. More enterprises are want to have 100% of their data protected, right? So which is very important. So that has kind of helped us to get the traction. But if you see, we have been always evolving our solutions and making sure we cater to the newer challenges, and we have been always on the edge of it. So that in a way kind of helped us to be kind of leading in the market with those solutions, and we'll continue to do that. So last few years we've been very successful, I would say, both from availability perspective, InfoScale product or net backup or backup exec, great traction, and with large customers adopting these solutions, which is very positive. And we are also seeing newer customers getting added to the fold. So that shows that the awareness of data protection and data management is increasing, and some of these external events kind of getting those customers pushed to adopting some of these solutions. So we certainly see very positive movement and positive growth in India for the new age solutions that we launched. One thing good about Veritas is we are, from the platform perspective, we are platform agnostic, in the sense we support on-premise all the operating systems. We support all the workloads, we support all the cloud vendors, and so on. I mean, there are obviously like we have we have good relationship with all the cloud vendors, AWS, Amazon, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and we support all those solutions. So I definitely, there are partnerships from the go-to-market perspective and different programs, and that goes with different cloud vendors in different regions. But and that will continue. But our focus has been we continue to support all the partners and build a stronger partner ecosystem, and make sure we are able to launch the solutions. So we do not want customer to be in a spot where they have to only choose a specific partner. We want the customers should have that choice, and that's a conscious approach that we have taken, that we will support many of those vendors, many of those partners, so that we don't have to be exclusive with whether it's a cloud vendor or hardware vendor or a security vendor. BFSI and telco, I would say, are the large ones, and obviously beyond that, government again is a good consumer of it. From the mid market, we do have a solution for data protection called Backup Exec. It has a great traction from the mid-market perspective. Enterprise Vault, enterprise.cloud, that also is a archival solution which has a big play in the market. So that's been our focus, that while we have enterprise grade solution, we also have a mid-market solution, and that we route to the channel partners. So that's not the direct selling model, that's actually routed to the channel partners. Correct. Large enterprise, so we do direct selling, fulfillment is done to the partners, and for SMB we do sell through the partners. So one trend we will see more and is data growth. I think that is given. The second, which I was thinking of, this data protection regulation that Government of India particularly is pushing it through. If that gets approved, then there'll be again a lot of focus on protecting the data, securing the data, categorizing the data, and so on, right? So that also would create a lot of adoption for the market from the market perspective. The third trend, I would say, which is going to be which kind of pushed because of pandemic, but I think that would stay for next couple of years, is cloud adoption. I think there's more comfort to run applications in cloud than before, and so you would see more data getting created and stored and used in the cloud, and that in a way would mean our cloud portfolio has to get bigger, stronger, and get more feature rich as on-premise, and that's has been our focus, right? So I would say those three trends is what I would expect, particularly from the India perspective. One thing about Veritas solution is we want the administrators to not worry about all these aspects of it. We want a single pane of glass. We want a uniform view. Doesn't matter whether you're on-premise or cloud or on the edge. We should be able to have the same console, same tool to manage it, driven through policies. So what we are doing is some of our cloud solutions are well integrated into our on-premise solutions, and same is the edge solutions. So essentially, we want to expand that bring out the features of on-premise products uh, to our cloud solutions. That's one. The second thing is appliance. That's a big portfolio for us, and that usually gets deployed into small offices and branches and so on, as well as there's a scale out offering that has come out. So we have a spread of appliances that also are going to be a lot more adopted now, because customers do not want to get into multiple vendors, right? One vendor giving hardware, another vendor giving operating system, and then your solution, right? So appliances is another big pool, and I can see that trend is coming up very well in India too. So that is another thing that we are focusing on, both the scale out of the appliance as well as the smaller appliances which can get deployed into kind of regional or branch offices. And that's primarily because of the lower admin cost, right? Because it's a pre-built, we call pre-built appliances. So they're designed for purpose-built appliance. So they're kind of well sized, and all the software built in. You just plug it and get it on running, right? So customers love that because they don't want to get into this hassle of building the whole stack, testing it out, and trying to make it perfect, right? So that trend is picking up, and we feel next couple of years, more customers in India would start adopting appliances. All of us want to really get into the new facility, and everybody is eagerly waiting this pandemic to get over. But we are very, very clear about employee safety first and employee health first. And right from our CEO and the board, we're very clear. Unless it is safe for employees, we will not operate from the office. We'll work from home. Fortunately, everybody learned this game for last 9 months, right? And been able to conduct, and we had so many product releases done in last 6 months that sometimes we feel, man, maybe this is the way to go. And you don't know the future, right? We could probably do a hybrid model. So we certainly want to get back to office, but not at the cost of employee health or safety. So as this pandemic gets into better control, we saw some good positive updates, vaccines getting approved in UK and so on, and hoping gets rolled out in India. And we were able to move around and get easy mobility and get back. So we're thinking at least for next few months, right? We'll work from home, and as the situation, which seems to be positive territory right now, moving in the right direction, gets better, and then we'll be back to office. But having said that, the journey of innovation, journey of supporting customers and getting the products developed and new features developed, that continues. So it doesn't matter whether you're in office or at home, that passion continues, and we have all the employees really looking up to the next year to get with a bigger bang and get more product releases out. The data is absolutely important, and because it is so important, there will be always attacks on the data. So please plan ahead. The data categorization and taking care of availability as well as protection and insights. Be it Veritas or any other vendor, make sure the data gets protected. Many times not aware of being, that data leads to a lot of issues. So if you can get a good audit done of your data and applications, and design the right solutions. Veritas is always available for any help, and we're all committed to make sure we support you with all the solutions. So that's for customers, and for partners, right? The data growth is coming significantly. So when we design the solutions or recommend the solutions to the customers, you need to really think of what's expected in next 2-3 years, considering what the experience we had for last 9 months. So let's build the solutions to the scale and the performance that customers would expect for next 2 to 3 years, so that they don't have to scramble at the last minute.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.